It is Waiver Wire Tuesday. We are here to help you add that protein boost to the
protein boost.
Yeah, you like that?
I like that.
To your the matcha green tea. Is that what you like? You like that there smoothie? I did that for you, Akbar. That is your fantasy lineup. Fabs, you told us earlier, Darren McFadden is your number one. But give us another player, if you don't have that number one selection in your league, that people ought to be looking at.
Oh, it's Charkandrick West because people dropped him after he had one bad game. It's kind of like Breaking Bad, right? The first couple episodes were a little bit slow, but then it got really good. And last week, Charkandrick was really good, had over 100 rushing yards. I'm not going to say he's Jamal Charles, but he looked very, very impressive against the Steelers defense that coming into the week was very tough on running backs. So if Charkandrick is out there, and I almost guarantee you he is, he's available in about 80% of NFL.com leagues, pick him up, man. It's hard to find a starting running back heading into Week 8 on the waiver wire.
Well, this next guy, I don't think we can talk about him enough, Stephon Diggs. He's really separated himself there as an elite wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings. You think about what they did during the offseason as far as getting Mike Wallace, and then we thought Charles Johnson off the hill of what he did last season, that these were going to be the wide receivers that were going to be the vertical threat. But it's Stephon Diggs. He's leading the wide receivers right now in yards. He's been targeted a ton, and he's catching everything, almost everything that's been thrown his way. 18 targets, he's got 13 receptions. He is really going to be the guy that's going to get vertical for North Turner.
Well, you saw Washington is on a bye this week, so if you're looking for immediate help, Jordan Reed is not the guy for you. But if you have a lower waiver wire priority, then this is a guy you should really target. If you talk about trying to find running backs this late in the season, trying to find tight ends all year long has just been a crapshoot. So at this point, Jordan Reed, when he's healthy and he's out there, he's a big part of what this team is doing offensively. Came back from injury, had 13 targets in the first game back, so he's going to continue to see the football his way. If you need tight end help and you can afford to stash somebody, this is the guy to go get.
Okay.
The second that Brandon LaFell was activated, I put him in 2 of my 4 leagues. Didn't pay off for me this week, just 2.5 fantasy points, but the entire Patriots offense was a little out of sync against that dominant Jets defense this week. What I like seeing, 8 targets, from Peyton Manning. Heck no, Tom Brady is certainly not. Peyton Manning from Tom Brady. And moving forward,
why are you writing them like that?
If teams take the same approach the Jets did and just force the Patriots to beat them with the pass and the pass exclusively, LaFell becomes even more valuable. And Fabs, I know you like Ronnie Hillman. So is this the last week that I still can't believe he's on the waiver wire, but this is it.
That's stupid. In right around 50% of leagues, well, yeah, San Diego State. Of course we were going to say that. We knew that, Akbar. We know you so well here on NFL Fantasy Live. But if you look at the numbers, I mean, Hillman's been far and away the better running back in Denver, even though C.J. Anderson was drafted in the first round. Oh, boy, has he been a bust. So
you can say that louder.
Anderson at some point is going to start getting phased into a secondary role. It's still going to be a committee, but Hillman will lead the committee at some point. How can you not give him the football more, Gary Kubiak? He's been much better than C.J. Anderson. In fact, I have Anderson in a couple of leagues. I'm on the verge of dropping him.
Well, let me just say it, too, just to add to this. He's the best fantasy running back from San Diego State since Marshall Faulk. You have to pick him up. You need to get him on your roster.
It's a fairly short list there, isn't it?
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just saying he's the best fantasy running back.
It is a true statement.
From San Diego State since Marshall Faulk.
I want to know who's between Marshall Faulk and
Alfred Blue, that's who.
Alfred Blue is the guy,
okay.
because Alfred Blue now, of course, I mean, it's sad that the Houston Texans, they lose, of course, Arian Foster. But when you look at what he did in Week 3, his production was big. Had a lot of carries there and brought home a lot of fantasy points for you. So you know Alfred Blue can carry the rock. And I think, too, he's going to have that adrenaline rush knowing that he is the guy. Now, of course, his production last couple of weeks with Arian Foster, not there. But now he's the man. Give him the ball. Give him an opportunity.
Well, at the start of the year, we were all really big on Stevie Johnson. He was kind of a sleeper play and was seeing a lot of opportunity early in the season, slowly working his way back after being out with an injury. But look, he was on the field for 81% of the snaps in that blowout loss to the Raiders last week. Saw 8 targets, and he's going up against that Ravens secondary who has been awful all season long. Plus, the good news is, for the last 3 games, Phillip Rivers is throwing it an average of 57 times. The targets are going to be there.
That is a lot.
That's a lot of balls,
man. I'm going to make this simple for Duke Johnson, who's available in 60% of NFL.com leagues, 56%. He had 9 points against the Rams this past week. Just if you had a chance to watch that game and you know what the Rams did to that Browns offense, the fact that he came up with 9 points against the Ram is a minor miracle. 13 touches, 90 scrimmage yards, 52 yards per game in the last 5 weeks receiving. And if McCown is going to be out with a shoulder situation, they're going to want Johnny Manziel in low-risk situations, which means a lot of those smoke routes, those dump-off passes. And Duke is great catching the ball out of the backfield. Fabs, here are your top waiver wire targets for Week 8.
Tried to put a lot of running backs in here because people certainly need help at that position. A couple of good tight ends. Marcus mentioned Reed, but he's out this week with a bye. So if you need a tight end, Eric Ebron is out there. And Stephon Diggs, I talked to Blair Walsh, the Vikings kicker. He said this guy has been so good. Everyone was expecting this. Dude has some of the biggest hands in the league. And boy, is he athletic.